right, everybody, we're about to get started. We're here with Dr. Steve Turpin. He is a guru in contact lenses, so he's got a lot of good information for you guys today. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to let you kind of tell us a little about your practice, your background in contacts, and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So right now I'm at Pacific University out on the West Coast in Oregon, doing a contact lens and cornea residency. So basically all I do all day long is see specialty contact lenses, and I'm just running out of the school, so I'm not really, focused on doing a whole lot of, having to make the practice profitable, but that gives me the opportunity to do really interesting and cool things with the lenses. So it's a really great experience so far.
So how did you know you wanted to do the contact lens residency, or did it kind of just pop up for you?
Yeah, I've always kind of been interested in contacts. I did my master's program in specialty contact lenses, doing some stuff with myopia control, and there's kind of four pillars of specialty lenses that I really like. So number one, you got to be extremely knowledgeable in your ocular disease, anterior segment stuff. You got to be spot on because you're fitting lenses on diseased eyes most of the time, so you have to be able to see when there's a problem with that. So there's kind of that side. The second thing is you get to be kind of an engineer at the same time, right? You get to build these lenses, design them yourself most of the time, and so you get to kind of use that part of your brain to do it. Then you have the patient side. So these patients are patients that you're going to be seeing 4 or 5 times by the end of the visit, and so they become so familiar to you. You really build these hard relationships with them, and they are the ones who go out and sing your praises, online everywhere. And there's patients, that have been seeing the folks there for 30 years, and bring wine at Christmas and stuff like that because they're just so appreciative.
Yeah, so definitely the kinds of patients you can build a practice on.
Oh, totally.
So let's get a little bit into the meat of specialty contact lenses. You hear that phrase a lot, but sometimes people don't really know exactly what that means. Is it sclerals? Is it, RGPs? What exactly is specialty lenses?
Yes. So for me, I define specialty lenses as kind of anything that's just not off the rack, something that you go trial set that comes in a cardboard box. So it's sclerals, it's RGPs. Sometimes it can even be, in some cases, a custom soft lens. If someone wants a multifocal and they have too much cylinder that you can't mask with, a kind of an off-the-rack lens. So I consider that a specialty lens. Multifocals for children, for myopia control, ortho-K, all of that. And even, tinting a contact lens for a patient with TBI who is having some issues with light sensitivity is something that we do too.
So how does, you're in a residency, of course, but a lot of people decide they want to do this down into practice, or maybe they're a new graduate that didn't do a residency at all and then decided that's what I want to bring to the next practice I join. How do you get into that? How do you teach yourself? Is it just a lot of trial and error, or?
Yeah, so for me, the biggest thing is just learning by doing, teaching yourself. If information was an issue, then, no one would know anything. But there's so much information out there. That's not the problem. It's finding the good stuff and investing in yourself to be able to do it. There's a number of different resources. One that's actually quite good for kind of becoming familiar with, GP fitting and some of those fits is GPLI. So it's the Gas Permeable Lens Institute, and they have an incredible number of resources on their site in order to help you kind of learn how to not fit only GPs, but a number of other things. And they even have something where you can figure out how much you need to be billing based on your time, how many specialty fits that you're doing. So that's a great resource. And then content sites like New Grad Optometry, they're coming out with stuff all the time. You guys are doing a great job. And then with the internet, there's no shortage of information. You just have to want to do it. That's the biggest thing.
So where do you start? Is there one of those specialty lenses that maybe you use more than the rest, or where would you recommend getting started?
Well, honestly, the biggest thing right now is this kind of explosion with sclerals. And we've been doing them for long enough that all of the designs out there from all the manufacturers are so good that it's actually easier than you think. You just have to, kind of take that jump into it. I think once you kind of get familiar with some of the fitting kind of philosophies of a scleral lens, you can change a lot of people's lives in, relatively quickly. And you can also, if you build that practice, it can definitely be profitable down the road.
So, at what point do you kind of consider a patient for a specialty lens? You know, you've been spinning your wheels with soft lenses, or maybe you went to RGPs, but at one point do you pull that trigger and say, yeah, this would be a great scleral patient?
If they have any sort of kind of corneal irregularity, generally you can mask that with a lens a lot like you could with a GP. The issue with GPs is you have to actually put a lens on that irregular surface, right? So sometimes the fit is a little bit hard, but with the scleral, vaulting over it makes a huge difference. So anything like that, there's a lot of people that we're doing for dry eye now, just because they've tried Restasis, they've tried Xydra, they've tried all of this, and they just can't get comfortable. But having that kind of fluid reservoir up against their eye all day long makes a humongous difference. So those are the patients that I see sclerals kind of taking it off. And the nice thing about that is if you start with those patients, you're fitting them on a regular cornea, so the fitting pattern of the lens is pretty simple, but you get to make this huge difference for them because you get rid of their symptoms of the dry eye.
You know, we hear a lot of doctors, especially right now, because dry eye is kind of a big topic. It's a big, shiny, part of optometry at the moment. So I think that'd be a really great way that a doctor can maybe take dry eye that they're already sort of doing or maybe building into and add specialty lenses without adding specialty lenses yet. What would be your biggest recommendation to somebody who maybe is a little intimidated by the world of specialty lenses?
I think for me, the biggest thing is just, like I said, picking something and kind of getting into it. All of the contact lens manufacturers have a huge amount of kind of resources for you to learn, and they have workshops all the time that you can participate in. And so don't be afraid to go to, even here, go to those booths of those specialty lens manufacturers and start talking to them, because that is their business. So they are the ones who know it best, and they're not trying to sell you a product. They're just trying to help you get involved and get started. And so that's part of their model is they're trying to find practitioners to get started, and so they're the best ones.